I really didn't know what I want to do today. I was actually almost about to start a new painting, but I was looking at this and thinking, okay, it needs work. With the allegory, there's actually supposed to be diffuse sunlight and a little area of the cave that it's where you escape from. So it's like I'll do some sort of like little light area here, and there's supposed to be I forget like what kind of some sort of shapes and symbols that project on the wall, and I might clear that up. But basically, I like this. This is all nice, and I think I'll leave it like this. But over here needs work, and the sky I probably want to. It's still a little rough, and the bench I think I'm going to add some definition to the bench, and probably some more stuff around there. Yeah, so I'm going to add stuff and things, and yeah, stuff and things and stuff. It's kind of a rainy day outside, so it's kind of nice to be inside doing this. Okay, I feel pretty good. This is coffee number maybe 3, so ready to rock and roll. All right, well, I don't know. What should I do? I didn't even clean the brushes from last time, so let's just see what happens. What is this? Okay, so this area here. Oh, I think I know what I want to do. I want to add a bit more. See, right now it looks good up close, but from a distance it becomes a bit too monotone, I guess. So I'm gonna add some sparkles of color. Let's call it that. I'll try to stick with the color scheme. So right now they're like these. I don't even know. I'll just draw some shit. That's what I'll do. I'm just gonna paint some stuff and things. Yeah, I remember before I added some thicker paint splotches. So maybe that's what I want to. Maybe that's what I'll do here. I got just a little bit of paint here. I don't know what are these things? Look at these things. I was kind of thinking they may be like little trees or bushes or shrubbery. Oh yeah. So this will be like streaks of light from the sky coming down. Right, want some streaks of light. And then, who knows? What could be here? What would be here? Is this a forest? I think I want to do more green at the top. I need to go to the art store because this is all the white paint I have. Oh, some people here. Hey, morning Dave. Morning Cindy. Morning Cheryl. Hey guys. And Cindy's like, good morning Cheryl. Do you guys ever see that Monty Python skit where there's like a bunch of fish in a fish tank and they all swim over and says, morning, morning, morning. How are you doing? I'm good. I'm good. That's what it kind of reminds me of. You guys saying hi to each other. Now, I forgot. Is this Cheryl's bench or Cindy's bench? I forget. Was it Cheryl? Was the one who insisted on the goddamn bench? I think it was Cheryl. Okay. All right, so I got some green. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Ooh, maybe I'll add some like stuff to that. Kind of, you know, why not? Who knows? So I like that color. It's a nice color. Okay. Cheryl's bench. Right on. Okay, so we'll make Cheryl's bench a little bit more obvious. What the hell should I do up here? What am I doing? Yes, I know I'm rambling and I'm not saying anything particular, but you know why. It's actually a pretty good morning. I need to think back. I need to think back about other paintings I've done and things I'd like to do. Because right now I'm sort of like my hand doing the walking, and I might need to do more than just that. What are these things? What are these little sparkly little bits of bullshit? Oh, I think I know. Oh, yeah. I was just thinking about Monet's bridge. If I recall correctly, it's like there's all kinds of like leaves and spiky things, and I think somebody said bulrushes, so maybe I'll add some bulrushes. I just gotta get the right color. Oh, here's something I haven't done. Really? Very, very thin spikes. Ooh, that's a horrible color. Yuck. I'm gonna get rid of you really quickly. So sometimes you mix a green with a white, it just becomes this gross mint. So I'm gonna kill that. It looks stupid. Okay, so I have two greens here. I'm gonna mix them up, and your options are either mix green with yellow or, you son of a bitch, mix green with yellow or mix green with blue to get a warmer or cooler green. So I'm gonna mix it with blue and see what happens. There's already so much white in there. I gotta really mix it up. Yeah, the problem is it's already on the canvas. Okay. Once in a while you gotta do this. Just fuck it. Bye-bye. Son of a bitch. Alright. You know it was okay. What are we doing here? Okay. Goddamn son of a gun. I would like to do an all swearing channel. I would like to, if I'd have a restaurant, and it's already been done before, but it's like, it's all foul, like it's all bad words. Like everything you order is like, give me the fucking burger, you son of a bitch. And I think also the waitresses swear at you too. Oh my God, I'd love that. That'd be so much fun. So I saw that. But also everything on the menu is just like, just rude. It'd be so much fun to do that. There's a kind of this late night, what do you even call it? I'm not sure if you call it a burger stand, but I think it's in Detroit or Chicago, where the people that work there are just the rudest assholes. It's the fun, like it's on purpose. Like when you go up there, they're like, "What do you want now?" You know, fuck face, and then they have all these really original insults. I would love to go there, and so the people try to dish it back to them. And sometimes I've seen some videos where they'll like take the food, just throw it at the customer. Oh man, it's awesome. Okay, so what I'm doing over here is in this painting I did of my mom's garden, I just randomly kind of took this color, this kind of nice green, and made these kind of shapes, and it looked really good. So I'm just doing that up there, around here, and it's almost like it was a bit of a forest. And yeah, so I'm gonna do that. Maybe I'll add some back over here too. I have to work on some of my other paintings. There's like about 6 or 7 paintings I've got going on right now, and I kind of put some in limbo. Like, I really want to get back to the asylum seeker dude in Algonquin Park. The ironic juxtaposition. And because right now it's like the landscape's kind of boring. Like, it's got a neat composition, but it's kind of boring. And for new paintings, I kind of want to do something I did a long time ago, which is I had people that meant something to me, and they're floating in kind of like environments that meant something to me. So, like, for example, I like this one I did of, I kind of had a rabbi, although it was like not religious. This guy was just more like a philosopher, and he became actually quite well known. He was like if I recall correctly, he was like an advisor to like an Israeli prime minister, and he grew up in an orphanage in Winnipeg with my grandmother. So that's how he was very close to my family. His name was Reuben Slonim, and he's had this really cool gravelly voice. He had this low gravelly voice, and he was like a wise old rabbi. But he was not, he never pushed Judaism at all. In fact, I think he even got kicked out of our synagogue, which was this tiny little synagogue that was kind of progressive, because he kind of got booted out because he wasn't doing the sort of traditional Jewish stuff as much. And he ended up like preaching or doing his sermons. Oh, I remember. His sermons were always really fiery. Like, he didn't pull any punches. It was like when you went to a synagogue and listened to a sermon, it was like, holy shit, man, wow. It wasn't like making you feel good and pretty, and it was more like, here's what's happening and around the world. And so anyway, he kind of got booted out, and he ended up, for the rest of his career, I guess you'd call it, he spoke in a non-denominational church. So I did this one painting of him. So Rabbi Sloan's head is right here, and then this girlfriend who I was like my first love, I guess you could say, she's kind of whispering in his ear. And then there's this, I'm pretty sure, one of my favorite things I've ever done was this little sketch, part of the Tivoli Fountain, whatever the fuck it's called, in Italy, in Rome, I think. Because I got a cool story about that. Anyhow, and over here in the background was part of this cloistered monastery that my girlfriend and I had visited. So it was kind of like this floating, not quite, it was more representational than Chagall. So it actually looked like them, looked not photorealistic, but realistic style, somewhat. It's on my website, I could show you guys. But I really liked it, and so it was, that painting was about, because I really loved that guy. I mean, he was such a gentle guy, and it was some sort of like, my girlfriend, the girl I love, was whispering a secret into his ear about me or something, and it was one of those things that, it was vague, and I didn't really know, and it was more like a mystery. Yeah. So I've done so many different styles of paintings. Like, I was looking at my website, there's like 850, I think, so far, of which you can ignore maybe 100 because they were done when I was pretty young. Like, I'd say I kind of matured as an artist when I was 15. I think 15 was the year where I was like, okay, I got this. Like, I knew when I was 15 I could do stuff that was at a pretty somewhat master level. Like, no shit, man. I was doing stuff that you would expect 50-year-old people, like, someone who's got decades of experience, like, I could just do it, right? So when I was 15 is when I think I kind of matured. And since that time, I tried all kinds of styles. I tried photorealistic. I came up with my own little things, and I tried tons of abstract ones, most of which I really didn't like. And one thing I've been thinking about doing, and here's something that's kind of funny. I applied to just become, I thought I'd try it for one of those Canadian grants, those Canadian arts grants. And I got rejected for even applying because they didn't consider my 35 years of doing art enough to be considered an artist. So I couldn't even create a profile. They ended up calling me and saying, no, sorry. Also pisses me off because there's so many of these like protected classes that get all these massive advantages in arts, which is kind of ridiculous. I don't know. That's just me. That stuff pisses me off. But I can't talk about it because otherwise I'll get in trouble. So fuck it. I won't talk about it. One thing I learned early is that I can't complain. One of the reasons why I shut up so much about art is I can't complain because I've been so lucky in how I grew up, right? I grew up in a mixed class environment. Half my friends were middle, lower class. And then in my high school, which was a private school, they were definitely the upper echelons. Like middle to high to, the elite of Canada kind of stuff. So I could never complain. I could never, even though, myself personally, I had a life full of genuine suffering. I'm not allowed to talk about it. And it's been for the best because it forces me to do rather than to get recognition based on some arbitrary thing. And what I've been doing was just I stopped showing to people. I stopped. There's a bunch of reasons I stopped showing my artwork. One is I didn't like that life of showing too much of yourself. Also didn't want to be constantly broke. I actually wanted to have some comforts in life. Plus, I was also very much obsessed with technology and video games. Like, I was equally obsessed with video games as I was with art. So I was happy to do both. But one of the things I shut up with is I could never, the art world was not meant for me. Just put it that way. Oh, there's that horrible color. Go fuck yourself. I don't know. So so what we got going here? I've been doing some stuff up here. Now I'm gonna come in with lots of little. You probably can't see it. Come in close, cause. So can you see over here? Oh, it's on. You guys got a really big shadow from my lights. Yeah, I was gonna buy these new studio lights, and just for the lights, and these are not even that like good, super high quality ones. $1,200 for the lights, and the polarizing filter was $500. So, and that's just for lights. I mean, I can see perfectly fine, but if I really want to step it up a notch. The one thing I really want to do is buy a Z-Clay printer because I want to do prints because I know original artwork is really expensive, right? But check this out. The printer that I really need to get including the ink for 1 year is $16,000, up to $18,000, and it's 6 feet across, so I can do large prints. So that kind of sucks. I've been wanting to do that for quite some time, but being my situation, I have like, no insurance. So like, I just spent almost $2,000 getting my teeth worked on. Got to go back again. Just spent a couple $1,000 going to a wedding because we had to buy a suit and bullshit. Just life is expensive, you know what I'm talking about? And yeah, life is expensive. And I tell you, there's really no support for if you are a white male, straight white male in the arts. You can just fucking forget it. I've applied a bunch of, like, there was this art exhibit in Toronto that's funded by the government, and they gave advantage, if you were a foreigner, if you didn't even live in Toronto, if you weren't even Canadian, they were going to give you like support and benefits and like all this shit. Like, and I'm like, holy fuck, wait a second here. I've been working my ass off for my whole life. Never asked for anything. I think I was on unemployment insurance for maybe a few months when I was like in my early 20s. Always paid taxes, and then it's just, it's funny because my family wasn't rich like a lot of the people I knew. One thing that they invested in me and our family in two things. One, in education. They sent us to very good schools, and any kind of vacation we had, it was always cultural. It was never kind of like fun going to the beach thing. It was like, we're going to go to Mexico. Woohoo! Okay, we're going to go to Oaxaca and look at the ruins of Machu Picchu or something, and it was actually a really good choice. But I paid for my university. I always had jobs. I always paid my way for everything. My first car I ever bought I was about 34, and I didn't buy a car because I simply never could afford it. And I saved my entire life so that I could put a down payment. Like, I saved my ass off since I was 25 when I started like working, so that I could put a down payment on a house, right? So I paid for my house. I don't know. Okay. All right. Oh, this might be kind of nice. Maybe I'll put a little reflection. Oh, even though this thing is kind of floating up here, maybe I'll put some, see the orangey stuff? I'll put some colors reflected down here, so it feels like it's lighting up that area. Excuse me. Okay, so Cheryl's bench. Yeah, I'm gonna I need a bit more time to do. So I kind of like that stuff. There's these little lines, these little bulrush things along the edges of the water. So I'm just gonna spend all the time doing that. And I'll try to do less complaining. So right now I'm close to the mic, so you could probably hear every little thing. You could hear my heavy breathing because I'm overweight. It's funny, I can't hear my own breathing, but when I've listened to it, I was like, holy shit, dude, you sound like some giant fat ass. Go lose some weight. You fat ass. So I'm really whispering. I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, can't even see it. Okay, I need some more. Why don't I do some bluegrass? Yeah. Here's some beautiful blue. A little beautiful blue. Mix you up. See what kind of color you make here. Wait, is the camera? Can you even see this stuff? Here. Hey, thanks, Peely. I always see your name, but I always wonder, like, how do you pronounce it? Peely? Peely? Piley? Is it Piley or Peely? Well, you can't reply, so you're going to be called Peely. Oh, goddamn you, little bastard. What are you doing? Your chatting is good, and expletives always make me smile. Fuck. That was for you, Cindy. Fuck. I wonder if I'm going to get booted off of Facebook or YouTube or something because I swear so much. It's a good thing no one really knows about me because that way I can get away with shit. La 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 la. A friend of mine who likes to swear as well claims there's a study that correlates intelligence with swearing, so that's our excuse. Correlates swearing with intelligence, meaning people who are intelligent tend to swear more. I know the reason why I swear, besides it feels good, is because there's a certain honesty to it. And being genuine and honest is one of my most highly valued traits, not myself, I mean in general. And when you swear, you tend to not care. Like, you tend to be in a moment that's about truth and not worry about social norms, for example. So there is a method to my madness. I don't plan it. It just comes out. There is a method. Oh, that is a beautiful color. Oh, I wish you could see this. It's like this glowing blue kind of, I don't know how would you describe that color? It's like this, I don't know, who gives a shit? Okay, let me just do this. It also could be because there's water in it right now, so there's a reflection from the light. So I'll have to give it like, a day or two to see how it's absorbed into the rest of it. But I do like what typically happens with this stuff is it gets absorbed and everything becomes much more subtle. Like right now when I'm painting it, the brush stroke, like the colors seem kind of somewhat extreme, but very much when it dries, it sort of becomes more muted. And man, you need to have good lighting. Oh, nice back of my stupid head. You need to have good lighting. It makes a huge difference. Like I was looking at this one last night and it was, I had only one light on and it was just like some dark blurry mess. And then I turned some lights on. It was kind of like, explosion. It was beautiful. I wonder, how do people get away with it? I was looking at this one woman's paintings on Instagram, and it was all fucking. It was. It was not complicated, but it was all about like just people fucking basically. Just like it was really big. Like it was simplified, almost like an illustration, like a penis in a vagina, and like you could see the lips and everything, and it was, and I don't see what, like, come on, why? There's nothing, like, it's just frustrating for me to see that. Oh, it's like, it makes me question what the hell I'm doing. Shouldn't maybe I should just draw some, like a giant butthole with all the hairs and photorealistic stuff, and it'll seriously, it's probably been done. There was one guy who painted with his penis. Seriously. He showed it, he did it live too. And it's like, it wasn't a very good painting, unfortunately. I don't think the penis makes a very good brush, but he got attention because he did some stupid shit like that. God, I'm my own worst enemy. I'm constantly having this battle in my head about, stay true. Meaning, don't cheat. Don't use photographs that are right here. Try to have it come from inside you. What else? Don't do things for shock value, because it's so easy. Like, I could do, like, a child, like, being strung up. Like, I was looking at John Podesta. He's like this political consultant, and is it John? I can't remember which one. Anyway, he had a bunch of paintings in his house that were kind of really fucking creepy. Like, there are all these, like, kids who were kind of like hung up by their wrists and stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, go fuck yourself, fuckers. Ugh. And what pisses me off is that there's people that are telling other people that this is great art, that this is something you should have, and it's just, fuck. Oh, it's not great art. Because somehow I know better. Yeah, somehow I have the magic answer. I don't have any answers. But someone's got to agree with me about that. Like, someone's got to, like, there's got to be some sort of backlash against the bullshit, sensational stuff. There's got to be other people out there that are like, come on, that's, it's not even childish. It's not even immature. It's shallow. It's hollow. It's easy. It's manipulative. It's advertising. It's kind of like, I don't know how to describe what my I would love to be able to start a revolution about at least just painting, maybe because, that has something to do with just beauty. I would love beauty to be recognized again. Beauty with meaning. So, for example, like the cave allegory is a fucking cool idea. And so this whole painting here, here's what I was thinking about. I'll tell you a little personal stuff here. I won't say who, but someone had mentioned, and they know who they are, is fighting cancer right now. And I was thinking that this is kind of like a bit of an afterlife, a little bit. And I know we did it as a joke, Cheryl's bench, as a joke, but it's a good symbol. So this is kind of like, this has a couple meanings to me. This is a, oh man, I'm going to cry if I say this. I'm making I'm trying to make your afterlife a beautiful place. You know what I'm talking about? And there's something about freedom and truth that comes from the story of the allegory of the cave. I'm also thinking about, my parents are getting old. So, I could die any fucking minute, that's for sure. But, so it's kind of like, I'm making this beautiful place that's these clouds reminded me of like some sort of Viking Valhalla. You know what I mean? Like some afterlife where the Viking gods would live, and it was like some glorious kind of place. Oh, I was gonna wipe my face with this. Okay. All right. So I was thinking that the bench is where you would sit, right? And you get to observe this beautiful kind of mystical place. And there's something about this allegory cave, because I was reading about it. I knew about the story of the allegory a long time ago, but I was reading this book and it kind of reminded me of it. It was almost like about, so just to see, if you don't know the story, Socrates came up with this concept where there's people in a cave, and there's a fire behind them, and there's a wall here with these kind of like, I think maybe like animal like shapes that are being projected shadows on the wall. And all the people who are here, sitting here, who are essentially chained up there, can't move, their perception of reality is the shadows. So the idea is, for most people, being us, we're living an illusion of, and reality is that's not reality. You're looking at an illusion. You're looking just at a shadow. And that has so many deep, great metaphors, especially like for today, when it comes to things like Christ. It could be as simple as our perception of the universe, like, in quantum mechanics, how that there's a separation between Newtonian physics, which is, things dropping gravity, and versus quantum physics, which there's like entanglement, particles existing in two places at the same time affecting each other. And so reality, what we think it is, isn't actually what it is. That was actually probably too deep of a metaphor. I think it's more shallow. It's more like, I think the metaphor for today of the allegory of the cave would be people who are believing TV commercials and watching shows and thinking that sort of like reality, like Kim Kardashian culture. How's that? That's more pedestrian, and that's more probably representation of what it's about. But the cool thing is about the allegory is that there's a space under here below where ambient light is coming in, and what happens is one of the people escapes, and they are a philosopher like Socrates. Fuck it. And then the philosopher who's outside, so here he is, woo, realizes that all these people are looking at an illusion, that their reality is untrue. So they have this epiphany. So here's Socrates. I know it's not how you say it. I'm doing it because it's Bill and Ted. It's funny. And Socrates is telling us that our education system, how we are educated, is actually corrupt, right? It's teaching us the wrong things about the nature of the universe and reality. And then the part that gets deeper, and I have to read more about it to verify this part, but I do believe that he goes on to mention that the sun, the real sun, creates the illusion of this reality. So even the philosopher has to realize that the reality beyond this fake reality is actually possibly a fake reality. So there's something here about, I'm not quite sure, and this is why I like painting and art, is because it's more like ideas that flow together, right? So there's something about an afterlife and Cheryl's bench where our friend, or any of us when we're dead, would sit here and get to observe what might be a beautiful reality, right? I guess I'm talking about heaven. And for simplicity's sake, and because I've been doing a lot of reading about interpretations of the Garden of Eden, which is really interesting stuff, I called it Eden. I didn't want to call it Valhalla because that has a different connotation, and so it became. What did I call it? Eden something? Forget what it's called. Uh, I was thinking about calling it like outside the cave or whatever, but I really want this to be about this place here. Wow, I don't know if any of that makes sense to anybody, but it does in my mind. This is sort of like it makes a hell of a lot of sense to me, and I kind of like how it in some ways it doesn't make sense. If you ever listen to I love the band The Talking Heads, and one of my favorite songs of all time is Once in a Lifetime. And if you'd have to play the song to understand it, but it's all about how life doesn't make sense. You just wake up one day and you realize you're here. And like, this is not my beautiful wife. This is not my beautiful home. How did I get here? And then it's once in a lifetime, let the water hold me down. And it's something about this. There's a similarity between that and then what I'm trying to do here. In fact, there's a similarity between that song and so many of my paintings. And I think about this. I have a very good friend, one of my oldest friends. We were friends since grade 3, and he was always broke ass. His dad was like this like hippie photographer, and he never had he was got into crime because he just to survive. And I can't tell. I won't tell any of some of the stories. But anyhow, recently he became a multi-millionaire of his own merits. Like he became a music producer and made a couple hit songs in Europe and did some other shit. And I'm thinking like that song's like almost about him. How like I remember he used to come to my house and he used to do things like take some brie and some pear. And he'd be like, and with green grapes, and he'd be eating this stuff and going, oh my God. And I'll look at him going, what the fuck are you doing? That's weird. I want craft dinner. And so he's half French, like real French, like from France, and half Indian, half French. And so he was exposed to different cool cultural shit, even though he came from essentially poverty. And I was thinking about that song, how now, we're almost exactly the same age. And we've had this lifelong friendship where I might not see him for like 5 years, and then I'll see him again, like no time has passed. And, his life is so different now. He's like this gazillionaire and fucking bought himself like a Bentley. Like, it doesn't even make sense. And then, and there's me, and I'm like at such a different place in life than he is right now. And it just weird how life happens, right? And you sort of, I feel like, if we are all one, I don't get jealous because we're all one. Like we are. I have my brother is incredibly successful. Like he's like essentially a world leader, and I don't get jealous because we're the same. Like we're blood. You know what I mean? Like we're the same thing. Like sometimes I think about how I don't get to have nice things because I haven't chased the dollar. And it is nice sometimes to have nice things. Like I like quality stuff. I'd rather have nothing or quality things, and save up for whatever until you have it. But I don't know what I'm saying. Once in a lifetime, let the water hold you down. There's something about bringing everyone together about that song. It's also about like the recognition that you can't predict life, and you have to accept whatever life throws at you, the good and the bad. You can't have the good without the bad, right? I think I need to make the bench more obvious. Maybe I'll do some. I like that. The water. You know what? I'm gonna see if I can get away with playing the music while I. The Facebook might mute this, but I just want to hear that song. Talking Heads once in, let's see, there it is. Here we go. I love it. I'm gonna get rid of the ad. Okay, skip ad. Here we go. Bentley. Flowing underground. Never was. Same as it ever 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 was. Yourself. What do you do? And you may ask yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground. Into the blue again, into the silent water, under the rocks and stones. There is water underground. What a great song. I got a feeling, unfortunately, what'll happen is Facebook is gonna mute out that whole section. They've actually, I think, muted out whole videos, like whole painting sessions because I played music. And man, I love that song so much. Okay, I think I should probably, okay. Same as it ever was. Wanna hold me down. See, this is good. Cheryl's bench needs a bit of work. I know. Why don't I just do, oops. I'm gonna put some green in between to lean out, just for the fuck of it. I'm gonna lean out. what do you call those little slats things? Those parts of the bench. The money's gone. So it's almost, you can't even see that bench now. It's becoming kind of weird. Put some brown. I haven't put any brown in. Let's put some brown in. There is a problem with this whole area over here. I'm not quite sure what it is. Okay, so let's just do... Okay, so here's the wall. Here's the wall. I'm gonna make it really obvious. And then there'll be strong shadows from the fire. And then underneath, okay, here's where I gotta get. So the idea is under here, a place to escape. So do I have colors to represent that? I don't know, let's try this. Let me just wash it. That's a bit, it's too strong. But it's the right idea. It's the idea that this is where they escape from. This is the ambient light zone under here, which comes under here. I'll fix it up. It's kind of shitty right now. Ew, I don't like that green. But, so, once in a lifetime. So far, only because I had the wrong colors on my palette. I need some white. Oh, actually the wall should be bright. The wall should be actually quite bright because the light is on this side, right? And then down here it should be dark. Down here, yes. And over here, it's gonna be dark. Okay. And then let's just sort of smooth it out. It becomes a streak of something. Like, who even cares at this point? Let's just make this. Okay. Oh yeah, let's try taking some of this yellow here and bring it into the water. So I'm taking this ochre, this yellow ochre, and I'll just do some streaks of ochre down here just to give this impression that it's causing light reflections. That's all you need to do. Boom. Now, something about this is just not good enough. Something about over here. I don't like those little brush strokes. Once in a lifetime, the waterfall media. Again, money's coming. Yeah, that's the thing I worry about with my friend. You know, what happens if he loses all his money? You know? Oh well, he'll be alright. He's a survivor. Okay, how are we doing? I think it's time for some sky work. I need a, oh, this is a good brush. I need some white. Where's my white? Oh, poor white. I'm going to start with a new thing. I'll slap some white on here. Now, I bet you there's still color up there. I'm just going to take a little bit of water, mix it in. Because remember, this is like some sort of a like heavenly thing, right? This is not... Oh, what if I did some more gentle strokes, like little... and fall and tracing this. And, right? Maybe that's all I need to do is just a kind of like this wispy little... Once in a lifetime, let the water hold you down. So strange, that cloud, eh? Once in a lifetime, let the water hold me down. True again after the money's gone. I don't know the lyrics, but I sing it anyhow. Okay, so well, the sky looks like mountains. Yeah, it could be. Oops. It could be mountains. It could be whatever, right? Okay. God, I want to listen to that song again. But I think I'm getting tired. I need a break. Let's see how close to an hour I am. 59 minutes and 26 seconds. Tell me that's not fucking weird. I paint for exactly 1 hour, and after I just get tired at exactly an hour. Look at that. Within 25 seconds. I have some sort of magical skill of knowing when an hour's up. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna zoom in to show you some stuff. see what happens. So let's see what we did here. Hey, cool, someone's from Nepal. Sweet. Okay, so I didn't really do much to that like I wanted to. I just, some brightness around the back of the wall. I did start adding these oops, sorry, I can't see. I need a camera crew, that's what I really need. Okay, so I started adding some patterns and friggy things, and started adding kind of like supposed to be like vegetation and bulrushes and things like that. Oops, let me get my thing. Cheryl's bench, has some highlights so you can see it better. I played with the sky a little bit. But most of the things are pretty subtle. Like if you look here, that's stuff I was doing, and I can't, unfortunately. Well, let me try moving this computer. Like I was, you see that stuff? I was thinking about Monet's bridge, and I recall him having like these bursts of sort of like bulrushes or something. So that's sort of like that's cheating. However, I did some things up here, and I had some. Yeah, I'm too tired to talk. This happens to me after an hour. I suddenly get like this weird exhaustion. So I'm gonna just chill out. Hey. Windsor, woohoo! Do you ever go to the Tepperman's store? The guy, I was good friends with Andrew Tepperman. He helps run the Tepperman store. And I did a painting when I was 17, and he was one of the models in it. And it was a cool painting. It was my dad was a model, my brother, and then Andrew. And then I donated it to my high school, and I tried to find it, and they lost it. Sons of bitches. It was a really good painting. That's Cindy with a Y. Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take a break. See ya.